Manchester United have emerged as favourites to land Harry Kane this summer. His preferred destinations are reported as Manchester United and/or Manchester City. Tottenham have been seeking a replacement since as early as February 2021. They have made inquiries as wide and far as Borussia Dortmund for Haaland, but were put off by the higher demands in wages. Anthony Martial and potentially Gabriel Jesus could be used as make weights in swap deals to get this deal through. But one thing is for sure, Harry Kane does want to leave Tottenham. They are preparing and working hard for his replacement and to get this deal done. It's going to be an epic summer transfer window. But right now, we're here for you to listen to what you've got to say, to take your calls. Hit that like button. Share the stream on your social media platforms. Here we go. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Good morning, one and all. The transfer window hasn't officially opened yet, but from a social media perspective, from a fan's point of view, it kicked off in spectacular style last night with the announcement from Sky Sports, from the likes of Dean Jones and many others, that Tottenham captain, their greatest ever Premier League player, has handed in a transfer request, has put in a demand to leave the club this summer. It's been revealed that there was this same request a year ago, but Tottenham Hotspur convinced him to stay for one more year. Give us and give Jose Mourinho the 2020-21 season to prove, essentially, that this is the place for you. Harry Kane's desire to leave is born out of one area, and that is winning trophies. We have seen multiple interviews since 2016, 2017 of Harry Kane discussing and talking about his deep-rooted desire to win trophies. The goal records and everything else that he's done in that area are important to him. Of course they are. But it's winning those trophies that stands well above. The Mount Everest isn't breaking Alan Shearer's goal record. It isn't being the highest goal scorer in English football history. It's lifting those cups. It's lifting those league titles and potentially even a Champions League as well. This morning, lots of, I want to say, contrasting views and opinions. Some journalists say Manchester City are the favourites. Others are putting Manchester United at the top of the pile. The bookies certainly have Manchester United down as the favourites to land and sign Harry Kane this summer. That is, where are people putting their money as an example. What's interesting to reveal here, Spurs have kind of briefed some of their very close media, some of their close journalists, the likes of Alistair Gold, along with others. They've also put a bit of a briefing out themselves, basically playing down this news like there is no news. Like the police do when there's a big incident and there's like nothing to see here, but there certainly is. What we do know is that Tottenham have been seeking replacements since as far back as February this year. And I'm talking actively going out into the market, making inquiries and trying to find themselves a replacement. They went to Dortmund to talk about the Erling Haaland deal. They walked away pretty quickly. The reason they could go to Dortmund, by the way, is because they knew they were going to receive a lot of money. They will receive a lot of money for Harry Kane. They looked at signing Haaland, but the wage demands of over £350,000 a week were too steep, so they stepped away. What was revealed last night is that both Gabriel Jesus and Anthony Martial are seen as potential replacements for Harry Kane. So there is this notion that Man City or Manchester United, respectively, could be able to put a swap deal together. But as we've spoken about many times here on the Football Terrace, swap deals are very, very hard. The reason that they're difficult is because you have to get Spurs and Man United or Spurs and City to agree. You have to get the said player in the swap deal. So in this case, Jesus or Martial to want to join that club. The biggest stumbling block in this swap deal is the fact that Anthony Martial is earning £250,000 a week at Manchester United. Gabriel Jesus is earning a large amount of money as well. Are Tottenham prepared to pay a similar level of wages for those players as Man City and United, respectively? That question still remains to be seen. But what we do know is that Spurs have set a very high asking price of £150 million. Many believe it can be got for around 120, but regardless, this is a colossal amount of money, regardless of Harry Kane's ability, irrespective of how many goals he's going to score. £120 million in this climate is a hell of a lot of money. And I don't think any club has that cash just to spend straight out. However, deals can be done. Who can Man City, who can Manchester United sell? There's been mooted reports. If we look at City, that we know Aguero is going, that frees up the salary. But there's been talk about the likes of Raheem Sterling going. Manchester United. This news comes at the same time as Paul Pogba maybe not wanting to stay, and maybe Manchester United cashing in on him. So I think there are ways in which the clubs can raise money, raise funds. Harry Kane comes with a huge amount of commercial and marketing upside as well. So there is a notion to be said that the likes of Manchester United can start speaking to sponsors or new sponsors about the potential of increasing money or helping them up front by almost subbing. You know, I know you give us £60 million a year. How about you give us an extra 60 million this year, and we'll do some, extra marketing with the England captain Harry Kane. I've given you a very layman's overview, but these are the types of deals that can happen and can be struck at the same time to try and get somebody with the profile of Harry Kane as a brand ambassador for some of these sponsors. This is certainly a deal that's got legs. It is certainly a deal that is genuine. This isn't a sort of desk journalist's wet dream. This isn't a story that's been created based upon an ex-Liverpool player's opinion on a pundit show that none of us watched, that's now been twisted into articles. This is genuine. Harry Kane is asked to leave. Manchester United are the current favourites. The likes of Gabriel Jesus and Anthony Martial are being put forward as potential pawns in swap deals. These are also players that Spurs have identified as potential replacements. But we want to gauge your views. We want to gauge your opinions. We're going to go to your comments. We're going to go to your super chats. We're going to open up the lines very, very soon for you to phone in and have your say. One thing we're very conscious here about at the Terrace is it's great listening to all the other YouTubers. It's great listening to Sky and to TalkSport. But when do you get the chance to actually have your say and to give your opinions on these matters? We're going to share the link on the Discord server very, very soon. If you haven't signed up to that yet, go and get it done. We smashed past the 3,000 user mark yesterday, which is absolutely amazing. Jack Lynch here says, as much as I would love Harry Kane at Man United, we need to strengthen other areas first, like getting a world-class centre back, CDM, and right wing. And I think a lot of people echo that with you. Do you know what I was thinking about last night, though? Is look what the Glazers have done to us. Look what the Glazers have done to Manchester United Football Club, where we're sitting here and we're thinking, oh, we can't go and get the best striker in the Prem, one of the best strikers in the world, because we need to prioritize elsewhere. Forget how much money we've wasted on the wrong players since Fergie retired for a moment, because it's our money. The nigh on £2 billion that these leeches have taken out of this football club should make doing this deal a prerequisite. Simplistic, easy. That's how much more money Man United should have in their bank account, and we don't. And that's one of the reasons why signing Sancho, signing Kane, it doesn't matter who, I will never forgive the Glazers, because they have put us into a position where we should have a monopoly. Man United, since the early days, the way Busby grew us, the way Fergie took us back to the top, we generated a fan base and an income off the back of that gave us the monopoly. It was earned. We didn't have a monopoly for any other reason. We were built in pretty much the same way as every other single football club in the world. And these goddamn owners have made it that we're struggling to compete against teams that we are 3 times, 4 times as big as. It's a joke what they've done to us. But I do get your point there, Jack. Terry, how will the club that buys Kane ever make a return on the investment? By winning. By winning. The clubs are not here to get a return on their investment. That's what a Borussia Dortmund do. That's what a feeder club to the big boys does. They buy at 20, 30 million and they try and sell at 100 million. That return on investment is how they generate the income to survive. It's their business model. Manchester United, Chelsea, Manchester City, the 3 front runners to sign him, they they don't look to turn a return of investment on players. That isn't one of their main sources of income or turnover as a business. So it's with due respect, it's an irrelevant question. Kane isn't on peanuts. Tottenham could cover the wages of Martial or Jesus quite comfortably. That's a fair point. They could do if they see him, and that's the one thing that you would hope the agents of the Martials of this world would do is, hang on a minute, you have picked us as the replacements for Kane, so you have to pay us a pretty penny to do it. Maybe there would be an opportunity there. How many Man United fans would swap Anthony Martial plus cash for Harry Kane? That's the question that I want to pose to you all this morning. Odds as it stands right now. We are going to be doing a dedicated Chelsea video on this a little bit later, but the current odds show that Man United are the favourites at 7-4 on. Man City second favourites at 13-5. PSG third favourites 10-1. Chelsea fourth favourites 14-1 currently are where the odds lie on that, which is, I'm not saying it's damning, but it's not great. But it isn't great. We're going to just take a quick listen here to what Ali McCoist has had to say about the potential move. Then we're going to start. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to share the link right now on the Discord server for you to phone up and have your say. That's done. Let me just post that now. So that's done. That's out there. That's posted on the general chat page. So go and get that link. Start to dial in. But we're going to have a little listen here to what Ali McCoist has had to say.
I don't think MD could grudge him a move, would you? I really don't. I think the way he's conducted himself from start to finish at that football club, Spurs, has been immense. Clearly, I think everybody would know that if Spurs were winning trophies, he would probably stay there for the rest of his life. But I just feel that Harry Kane now has decided that the best opportunity for him to start winning things will be somewhere else. And you know something? He's right. He is right. If he goes to Manchester City, or Manchester United, or Chelsea, or a Barcelona, or whatever it may be, you've got to be truthful and say he will have a better chance of picking up team trophies, whether it's cups and leagues. And that's all he wants to do. And nobody could begrudge him that.
And I think what Ali McCoist has said there is so spot on. It is so spot on. It's unbelievable around that. I saw a lot of people saying yesterday, why would he pick Man United over Chelsea or City? I don't think it's necessarily as simple as that. It's about those clubs wanting him, being able to do him. If the reports are right that Chelsea have got almost no chance of getting this deal done, and we'll touch on that on a separate show later today, then that rules them out. Man City may decide they don't want to pay that level of money. Maybe Gabriel Jesus doesn't want to be part of the swap deal. But equally, Man United, during Tottenham's greatest period in the Premier League era, Man United have won 3 trophies. And we're close to winning a 4th. If Harry Kane was sitting there now with 2 Europa League titles, an FA Cup and a League Cup, he wouldn't be leaving Tottenham. Now, of course, he wants to win the big one. But when I was sort of searching through social media last night, listening to what people have got to say, I saw this from maybe 100 different people. Whoever signs Harry Kane could win or maybe will win the Premier League next year. There is no doubt. If you threw Harry Kane into this Man United team this year, I think we pick up an extra 15 points. That puts us top of the league, irrespective of fixing the midfield or fixing the centre-back areas. And if Man United can, I'm not saying they will, but if Manchester United can find a way, to land Sancho and bring in Harry Kane, there is the potential to win any competition that we are in next year. However, that is a big if, but, or maybe. We're going to start going to your calls here. First up on the show this morning, we have man like Pav on the show with us. Pav, what you here to say, mate?
Boy, that was some explosive news last night. I was at work and my phone was just beeping off, and I just seen people going online on their streams. I was like, what's going on here? And then I see that Harry Kane's come out, his representatives have said that he wants to leave Tottenham. And I was like, oh my God, is this actually real? Like, the guy's actually finally come out in public and said he's done, he wants out, but who's going to sign him? Like, it's a lot of money. I've previously said I wouldn't want to pay upwards of 150 million for someone at that age. Obviously, he has like a bit of an ankle problem. But what you're saying there's reports of swap deals. I've read about Jesse Lingard maybe going to Tottenham, Anthony Martial going to Tottenham. I would happily swap Martial and Lingard, both of them, for Harry Kane. No agendas against either of the two. Martial's had off and on seasons throughout his time here. Hasn't really performed up to his name, what we thought he would be. And Jesse Lingard, you've had a great time here at United. You're performing at West Ham, but I think you need to move on and change your career with another club, go to another club and carry on what you're doing. The only worry for me is that where you're saying people are saying with favourites, the bookies and whatnot, we've just put Cavani on a 1-year deal, upwards of north of 200,000 a week. Like, if I use my head and not my heart, I believe that we done that because we weren't going to sign a striker. So I would put us maybe third favourites. I still believe I would like for him to come to us, but if he doesn't come to us, I'd like him to go to Chelsea, just because I know it'll create such chaos for Tottenham fans. That would be worse than Sol Campbell going to Arsenal. I would literally be sitting there on a daily basis watching videos of Tottenham fans having a meltdown. That's if he doesn't want to come to us. I don't want him to go to City. I would happily let him go to Chelsea if we can't get him. But what you just said there, Sancho and Kane, I'd be happy for that to be our summer business. Like, I really do want a DM and a centre back, but if we do get Harry Kane and we have to get Sancho, we're literally on season 2 of the Sancho series, and now we've just started on the Harry Kane season 1. That's where we are. Like, I would be happy for both of them to come, and if that was it for us in the summer, I'll be happy with that.
Mate, listen, I understand exactly where you're coming from in relation to that. I keep seeing a lot of people say, but we need this, we need that, we need the other. And I do understand that notion. But I remember Manchester United in the summer of 2012 we needed new centre-backs because Vidic and Rio were past their best. We needed a new
needed everything.
we needed a brand new midfield. We needed new inside forwards or wingers because nobody was good enough. But but we signed RVP, and between his goal scoring ability and Wayne Rooney's creativity, and that was always the amazing element of that season, was how things were twisted. Oh, we had to buy a striker because Rooney wasn't good enough. No, we bought a scorer because RVP was available for £20 million. There was no top level creator who could match, from a creative point of view, could match the goal scoring of RVP, who is available cheaply. It was Glazonomics at play that enabled us to do that. And I think that's the one thing we need to look at here. Man United, something I read last night was very interesting, that Man United were looking to sign Sancho as the big money signing, and then the other positions that we were going to fill were going to be 30-40 million pound deals. So we may not have even signed players that were vastly better than what we have in those positions already, based on how much we were willing to spend. The Harry Kane potential deal has tipped the interest of the Man United owners because that's how they behave. And we know this is how they behave because we're protesting and wanting to get them out. So whether I think it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter to a degree. It's, can I see the Glazers instructing the club to get this deal done for other reasons, potentially? And then it's whether or not you think with a strike force as good as ours, that's going to give us the ability to shoot our way to titles and leagues. Some are going to say no, some are going to say yes. It makes for great debates. Am I excited about the prospect of getting Harry Kane at the football club? Yes. Does it mean because it's Harry Kane? Do I think that's going to make us the best team in the world? I'm still unsure. But do I trust this club to actually go out there and do the right business, sign the right players that we need in certain positions? Probably not. I can imagine them saying, I know we've just signed Cavani, but can we work on... I mean, it wouldn't shock me if we signed Harry Kane and then let Cavani go now by mutual consent. I just wouldn't. What I'm saying, I wouldn't look at it as a Man United fan and go, can't believe the Glazers have done that.
At one point we had, I know we had like 4 strikers in the 08 season. But even after Fergie retired, when not Moyes, Van Gaal come on, we had Falcao, VP, Rooney still there. I mean, we have three. I know they were kind of like coming towards the end, and Falcao was like a bit of a panic, but we still had three strikers. Then at the moment, we've got one. We still need to know what Greenwood's going to become, and Anthony Martial. We haven't really got a clue what he is.
I think what you've got to look at as well is this, and I don't know if Man United can raise the money. It's the money question that's the biggest issue here. We've got Cavani for another year. In a year's time, we need another striker, regardless. If the world changes very quickly in football, so it can be a case of, right, we're going to wait till next summer to get another striker because Harry Kane isn't going to put the transfer request in, and Haaland has said that he's staying. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, Harry Kane puts in the transfer request. Maybe Haaland falls out with the Dortmund board next week, and the deals for those players are happening this summer. Teams have to reorchestrate their priorities because the world has changed. You know, we see this all the time. You know, you could have, do you know what? The next signing is going to be a central midfielder. Then you get two major injuries to centre backs. Suddenly your priorities change. This works in reverse, where the player that's your number one target isn't meant to be leaving for a year, 18 months, but suddenly is. And you need to readjust your priorities. I think football fans have got to wake up and realize that that's how things that's how things work. But listen, Pav, thanks for calling in and having your say. Really appreciate that. Top man. Next on the show this morning, we're going to get Tom Little, the Liverpool fan, on. Before that, super chat here says, Terry, I want City to go for both Kane and Haaland. I don't know about that. I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know how you fit them both into that system and make it work. I mean, ideally, you'd like to have both, but I can't see it being the case. If I'm honest. But Tom's here with me this morning. What are you saying, Tom?
Big news, aren't it? We all knew it was coming, but now that it's confirmed, the worst part about it was seeing Man City's name in there, because if they get him, that's a scary prospect. That's the one weakness in that Man City team shored up for the next 3-4 years, because he can do everything that they need from a striker. He can drop, he can link up, but he can also get them goals that they need. City have lacked a 30-goal season striker, really, because Aguero's been a bit past it, not fitting Pep's system. Jesus, you can't rely on him. Imagine Harry Kane getting fed 17 chances a game by De Bruyne. It'd be horrible to watch. Like, I don't want him to go anywhere because I know he's not a threat to Tottenham, in a sense. Tottenham aren't going to build a good enough squad around him to compete. If he goes to use, the Glazers will market as, we've got Harry Kane, but we can't afford anyone else. So that's the only potential good thing about that. You wouldn't shore up the positions that you desperately need to if you were to get Harry Kane. Your attack would become really good, but your defence would still be a bit suspect. And I think Chelsea, they're getting there, but there's still a little bit more they need to do. I don't think, though, that Tottenham should take a swap deal. I don't think many clubs will pay outright, but even if you get, they want 150 million, was it, that they wanted?
Yes.
If you can take 100 million cash outright, I'd take that, because you've got no guarantees with the players coming in and what they're going to do. You'd rather, in my eyes anyway, they'd rather buy a player who fits the new manager that's going to come in, their style of play, their outlook, maybe to strikers he's had before at another club. I think that's how they need to do it. But Harry Kane, he's gone, isn't he? They've just got to accept it.
Yeah, he's on his way. Whether it's this year, next year, he wants out of that football club. Listen, I get your point. I think what's interesting when you read the reports on Martial and Jesus is that they've been identified as replacements irrespective of a swap deal. So it isn't like they've said, right, we want to sell Kane. Do you want to do a swap deal for these players? They've been put onto the short list of players they've identified to replace Harry Kane. So that's where there is a potential hope for it, because Spurs have said this is who we maybe want. But what is dependent is how far up the list they come. So right now, Man United are the bookies' favourite. Most people are putting money on him going to Manchester United. But if Martial is fifth on the list, then Gabriel Jesus is the number. I'm not saying Gabriel Jesus is, but this is hypothetical. If he's the number one target, I think it gives City a hell of a lot more say in the matter and everything else. And it also depends, who else is on that list. As you say, there could be this element of And that's where the likes of Chelsea, for me, still have this outside chance. Because if the number one replacement is Martinez of Inter Milan, but Inter Milan want 80, 90 million, then a swap deal is no good for Tottenham. There could be a case of being tempted by outright cash. Man City, Chelsea might say, well, listen, City and Man United have offered you a player plus 50 mil. We'll give you 110 million, 120 million pound cash right here, right now. You can then go and sign Martinez. At least you get your number one target as a replacement, as opposed to your third, fourth, fifth choice, because that won't sit well with Spurs fans. Spurs fans have got to ask themselves this question. Say Anthony Martial's fourth choice striker, and you do a swap deal with Man United for him and Kane, like Money and Kane. Would you prefer that, and it's Man United that get him, or Man City that get him with Jesus, or you land your number one target as a replacement with the cash you generate through selling him to, say, a Chelsea? Could you put your rivalry aside with Chelsea to make sure your club lands its number one target? And I think these are all the internal fights that Spurs have got to battle through this. And that's why I personally wouldn't 100% write off Chelsea, although a lot of the mainstream media are just coming out and saying there is just no way that deal happens in any way, any shape, or any form. In terms of who does sign him, if it's City, you've already made it quite clear. If Man United sign him or Chelsea sign him, where would you rank their chances with Harry Kane as their striker of winning the league next season?
It's tough, isn't it? Because you don't know what Harry Kane you're going to get. If you get this Harry Kane that we've seen, this whole firing one, he could drag a United to the title. He could get you through them games where your defence is a bit dodgy. But there's no guarantees. I'd say City is still that far clear. The squad's that good. They're only going to strengthen in the summer. But if United or Chelsea were to get him, they'd be pushing City a hell of a lot closer than what a lot of people might think. It might go down to the last day, because he'll drag Chelsea through games like Brighton where they drew 0-0. He'll drag United past Sheffield United type games where you've slipped up because your attack just weren't clicking. That's how good he is. But I just think when it comes down to it, when it comes to them pressure moments, he might lack the experience right now, because he hasn't had them yet. He's only been to 2 cup finals. Once he's in a winning team and he's got through that first time potentially of struggling, then it's only onwards and upwards for him.
There we go. Listen, Tom, thanks for calling in and having your say, mate. Really appreciate it, mate. Top man. Abby Troops here says, Terry, if we sell Kane for 150 million and with the additional 50-60 million transfer budget will be over 200 mil, the rebuild will be good if we spend right. And I think that's the side of it the Spurs fans have to focus on. It's what can we get out of this? What's in it for us? And the rebuild being put together is fundamentally very, very important indeed. There was a member comment that came through here that I wanted to read out, and it seems to have disappeared. It hasn't disappeared. I've scrolled up and I can't find it again now. It's from Neil. Neil Driscoll says, would like Varane, Ndidi, Sancho before Kane. On paper, I agree with you. I do agree with you 110%. But I think where my head's at is Man United should be able to afford all 4 of them this summer with the money we generate and the money we make. But we're not in that position. So, yes, if I was told right now, right, Harry Kane and 2 mediocre one mediocre midfielder and a good inside forward, or Varane and Ndidi Sancho, as long as we're keeping Pogba and as long as we're keeping Martial in that, as long as they're not leaving as well, then I'm going to take Harry Kane. That's the other factor you've got to look at. It's the other factor we need to look at here. Who is going to be leaving along with the likes of Varane and Ndidi and Sancho coming in? But as long as we keep Martial and Pogba at the same time, then I'd take that 110%. Keep your super chats coming. Keep hitting that like button for us this morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to take your calls. We're going to share the link again now. We're going to share it in the live comment function here on YouTube. Next up on the show, we're going to go to Navin. Navin's with us this morning. How are you?
Hi, Terry.
Hi. What do you want to say? Yes, what do you want to say, mate?
I saw this Harry Kane news yesterday. Wanted to call in yesterday, but then couldn't. All right. This is my take on the thing. I mean, Harry Kane is actually a very good player. He could actually score us at least 20 to 30 goals a season, and he has a very good assist record as well. But the problem is, how are we gonna use only Kane without upgrading our midfield? Because our two midfields, McFred, is actually not so good. So without an upgrade there, the ball not gonna go up. Okay, if we're not gonna move the ball faster in the middle of the park, which is the heart of heart of the game. So if in midfield we are actually lacking, Harry Kane not gonna get enough services. Bruno not gonna get enough of the ball. Bruno not gonna pass to Harry Kane, and Harry Kane not gonna score. That's my take on this.
Mate, listen, I don't disagree with anything that you put forward there. It makes a lot of sense. I think most Man United fans I'm speaking to know that we suffer with glazonomics. They know we can't sign multiple stars this summer, so that a lot of them are picking midfielders and defenders over Harry Kane. And I completely and utterly get why people are saying that, why they think that, why they're feeling it. It makes complete and utter sense. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Listen, Navin, thank you very much for your call, mate. Really appreciate that, buddy. Top man. Thank you. Next up, we've got Ryan. Ryan is a Liverpool fan. What you saying, mate?
I'm doing good, man. Good morning, guys. Hit the like button, guys. We have over 900 odd people. I only have 120 likes. Come on, guys. It really helped the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, Terry, it's so frustrating to see a great player like Harry Kane not winning nothing at Tottenham, Spurs, and Liverpool on the top at this moment. Probably not this season, and our name cannot mention about Harry Kane to sign him because we don't have the money. I feel so disappointed. You know, this is how the owner of them has been cheated. The Liverpool supporter them. Why not cannot cheat the fans? Give us an next Alisson Becker. Give us an next Virgil van Dijk. And it's so frustrated, man. I can't bother with this low spending and FSG continue taking out of the club. What they're doing.
Mate, listen, I understand your frustration 110%. I sort of look at these scenarios, I look at these situations, and you know, you look at a club the size of Liverpool, you look at the club the size of Man United. These are the kind of deals that I don't even want to sound harsh. These are the kind of deals that clubs our size should just be able to get done because of the money we generate, the size of our fan base. But the clubs are just not run correctly, or they're not running a way to be able to land these players and these individuals. Where do you think Harry Kane's going to go, mate?
City.
You think it'll be City?
I think they're going to have the money to purchase him. They need a striker, and it's going to be really tough to stop this Manchester City team. I see them beating up Chelsea in the Champions League final. They're going to have more money in the kitty, and I think he will go to City. Probably Man United have a chance, but Man United just signed Cavani on a 1-year deal. I think they still give Greenwood a time to grow to be a striker. But your main target this summer is Sancho. That's the target Manchester United want.
Yeah. No, listen, I totally understand, and I still, for me, a lot of people have been asking me this question, and of course, you get excited and giddy when you suddenly get linked with Jadon Sancho. But for me, Harry Kane, Sancho is still my. If I have to choose between the two, I'm still picking Sancho. I still think that creativity right now is slightly more important than the finisher. I actually saw some people tweet yesterday. I can't remember who said it. It might have been Thogden, who said any Man United fan, I don't quite remember his words word for word, but like basically any Man United fan that wants Sancho over Kane isn't very well, or something along those lines. But I tend to disagree slightly. Listen, my guy, thank you for calling in, Ryan. I really appreciate that, mate. Top man. Thank you. Next up this morning, we've got Abs. Abs, what you saying, mate?
What are you saying, Terry? How are you?
I'm very good. What's in your mind?
Yeah, I saw this, and it's very ironic because I remember I said, I think last week or 2 weeks, if it was like Martial plus money, I can believe the story a lot more. But obviously, I watched you guys last night, and Danny said something about obviously we should go and get Kane. I honestly disagree with him. As much as I love Kane, and obviously I came on and said we should get him next season, we've still got too many holes in our team, and Kane doesn't fix that hole. We need a right mid. Personally, I think we need 2 centre mids because I don't think Ollie's going to change his 4-2-3-1 formation, and we need a centre back. Those 3 positions for me are more important than Harry Kane.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, what we think is more important and what the club goes and does, though, can you see us going in a different direction? Can you see us changing our tune, changing direction to go and land Harry Kane because it's that marketable marquee? Can you see the club behaving in that way?
This will tell us if our club has changed, because if we stick with what I've said we've planned for, and we want Sancho, we want a centre back or CDM, I can then go okay. But if we get Harry Kane, it shows that it's a reaction and we've not actually planned for it. Because I don't even think Harry Kane or Haaland is going to leave this summer. I think it's going to be next summer that those two would be leaving anyway.
Why do you think that? Is it just because of the money? Or?
We're with the Haaland one. I doubt Dortmund will sell Haaland and Sancho in the same summer. That is like suicide. Just thinking about it. And Harry Kane, Daniel Levy, personally, he's a shrewd businessman. I don't see him leaving this summer. Personally, I think it's going to be next summer. But unless someone's going to offer 150 mil or 150 mil plus, I don't see him leaving this summer.
Listen, I don't disagree with you on the. I look at it this way: these deals will happen when somebody offers the right amount of money.
Yeah,
Dortmund are a selling club, but they only ever sell at the right price. A lot of people said last summer, "Oh, see, Dortmund proved to everybody they're not a selling club." No, they proved to everybody that they only sell at the right price, not that they're not a selling club. It's I just bought a new car. I wouldn't sell it to anybody unless you pay me more than I paid for it. then I'll polish it and I'll drive it to your house and I'll get the bus home, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just what it is. Pay me more than what I paid for my car and you can have it from me now because I made a profit. Why would I not do that? Like it is what and a major profit at that. At the end of the day, if Chelsea offer 120, 130 million for Kane, or if they can afford that, go offer that for Haaland. Like if you can't land Harry Kane,
yeah,
it's doable. It's doable.
You know what's crazy, Terry? I think you said this before that Harry Kane also wants to stay in England. But obviously, if you look at all of Daniel Levy's selling of Tottenham's big players, Modric, Bell, he likes to sell them abroad. That's why it's interesting because Harry Kane doesn't want to go abroad and Daniel Levy doesn't want to sell into the Premier League. There's going to be someone needs to break there, and that's the interesting plot about this. It won't be a quick transfer as well.
Yeah, just changing the subject. I'm seeing trending on Twitter right now. Grealish to Arsenal is trending again.
That ain't happening. Arsenal
why does it keep trending?
Because Arsenal fans are one of the biggest fans in world football, so they can make anything trend, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, interesting to say the least. But yeah, I can't imagine it happening, to be honest.
Yeah, because if I'm Jack Grealish, you can go to Man City, you could go to Chelsea, you can even go to Liverpool. Why would you go to Arsenal? It doesn't make sense. Sorry, Arsenal fans, it's a sideways step. It's not a step forward. It doesn't make sense.
There we go. Listen, Abs, thanks for calling in this morning, mate. Really appreciate that, buddy.
Cheers,
top, man. Thank you. Make sure that like button is being hit. Make sure you're sharing this stream on your social media platforms. That's what's really important. Get it on Facebook, get it on Twitter, get it into your WhatsApp groups, your friends, and encourage your friends, your family, other people you consume content with to come along and watch, to hit the like button, to subscribe, and to come on and have their say and opinion as well. And remember, we're the only YouTube channel that gives fans an opportunity to speak on every single show that we do. Next up, my guy, he's been away for a bit. He's back with us this morning. Indiana is here. What you saying, mate?
I'm all good, Terry. How you doing?
Yeah, mate, can't complain. What's your take on this news, buddy?
I personally don't want us to go out and buy Harry Kane. I don't. As good as he is, I think a CDM has to be P1. That's got to be priority number one. I think someone like a Declan Rice allows us to play through the midfield. Our defence will look better with an actual DM. With a real DM, our defence will be better, will be stronger. Someone who's already in. Remember Michael Carrick? He was always there. You never seen him sprinting for the ball. He was always there. And that shores us up a little bit. I can't believe for a second that Michael Carrick himself, being on the coaching staff, is looking at McFred and thinking, yeah, we got this next season. I don't believe that. Sancho, now we've signed Cavani on an extension and Greenwood's improving up top. I would go and get Sancho. I would go and get Rice. Harry Kane, for me, and I hope this doesn't happen because I think it'd be a wrap. Harry Kane for me is a perfect fit for Chelsea. I hope it doesn't happen because I think if they signed a Harry Kane, that's every title. I think he's just a perfect fit there. 150 million for Harry Kane. Imagine what United could do with 150 million. Go and sign Sancho. Go and get Declan Rice. Go and get a right back. You know, I know we're being linked to Trippier again, who I think would actually be a good player to come in, give us a different option. He's very good going forwards. I can't see it happening. I think this is just the brand of Manchester United being used. And if it does happen, if we blow the budget on Harry Kane, this is Glazonomics. This is the Glazers shirt signings, get some sales. That's what this is.
Mate, I feel exactly the same way as you in relation to how this deal would feel. Does that make sense? I'm torn. I can't even lie. I'm such a flip flop right now. There's just part of me that's like, I would because I love Harry Kane, and then when I start to think about the dust settling, I'm like, yeah, but the CDM, the controlling the midfield, we need another centre back. The only way, and there was a comment earlier that says, Terry, you're forgetting that Man United might be able to sell people. That's the only other way forward, and it's who we sell. So, for instance, if somebody said, look, you're going to sell Pogba and Martial and Lingard, you've already got the Sancho money's already there. Forget about that. But you're going to sell Martial, Pogba, and Lingard. And with that money, you're going to sign Harry Kane and you're going to sign Ruben Neves. Then maybe I look at it and think to myself, okay, I can kind of that there's part of me that goes, okay, I'm really cool with it. But it's if we sign Kane and we drop the Sancho deal, or we don't sign a midfielder at all, or we sell Pogba anyway, sign Kane, but don't replace anyone in midfield. That's where it becomes a little bit bittersweet. Do you get where I'm coming from? There's this element of I want Kane, but everything else needs to work out as well. And the problem we have at Man United is that we don't trust our club to operate in the right way. So I almost don't want to get excited about this news. One, we haven't got him yet, and he could go Chelsea, could go Manchester City. But at the same time, it's where else are the holes? When I look at Chelsea and I look at Man City, Kane's it. Kane is almost that fine. There are some other areas of Chelsea that need to be addressed. But if you put Harry Kane right now in this Chelsea team, they win the league next year for me. If Harry Kane goes to Man City, they win the league next year for me. Whoever signs him out of those two teams is winning the league. By the way, I even think if Liverpool could sell Firmino and maybe a couple of other squad players, and they sign Harry Kane, Liverpool would regain their title next season. That's how good he is. I'm not convinced, in my heart of hearts, I'm not convinced that Man United win the league just by signing Harry Kane. So I think we may look at other people first.
No, and the players you have mentioned to leave, a winger and two midfielders. You're going to replace them with a striker. Martial, a wide forward. Pogba and Lingard, two midfielders. Again, we need a DM to get the best out of Van der Beek. We need that anyway. We need a player who can pass through the midfield. We never play through the midfield because we haven't got the ability to do that, which is why we play the way we do. We need somebody who can drive with the ball when needed, who can make those passes. Declan Rice for me would be signing this. If we sign Sancho and we sign Harry Kane and we sign Varane and we sign Declan Rice would still be the big signing for me. That would be the biggest name we signed because we need that player in midfield. I do think it's a bit of a myth that we don't create. We do create. We create a lot. It's more about the movement up top. So Harry Kane would help and he can create. There's no doubt in that. My issue with Harry Kane is the money he'll be on, the transfer budget, the fact that he's 28 and he is injury prone. So then you would have Cavani and Harry Kane, who both pick up injuries. I quite like to see us get a younger striker who isn't injury prone. Like Haaland would be the dream. We're not going to get him,
Well, if
But
you're
that
going
sort of profile.
to drop that's my other thought process. If you're willing to drop 120, 130 on Kane,
Yeah.
my question is, why not Haaland?
Yep.
Maybe it's not wanting to get back into bed with Riola. Maybe it's the salary, the $500,000, 600,000. Maybe it's the thought that, in 2 or 3 years' time, they're going to be pushing for a move away. Those elements I get. Listen, Indiana, top call as usual. Speak to you again soon, mate. All the best, buddy. Thank you very, very much indeed. Phantom of many topics. We've reshared the link, buddy. We'll get you on. I can see you there in your Chelsea shirt. We will get you on. By the way, when you're backstage, I can see you all, but I have like over 12 people at a time backstage waiting to come on at all times. So I can see you all. I know you're all there. We will try and get as many of you on as possible. Next up on the show, we'll go to Phantom of many topics next. He's a Chelsea fan. What are you here to say, mate?
Yes, this is my first time on the show. I'm an often super chatter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Really good to meet your acquaintance. And also, what are you here to say on this Harry Kane transfer news?
Here's what I'm saying, okay? If Arsenal is a Big Six team simply because they have money, then we are the top of the Premier League because we have the most money. And money talks. And I know Daniel Levy, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, we may have to offer $60 million more than Man United or Man City, but Mr. Abramovich will do it. He will do it to get Harry Kane, especially if we can't get Haaland now. I mean, we need a premier striker. No more of this, Werner, Harvard, or Havertz or whatever. We need a premier striker. Harry Kane is a proven striker, and not only is he a proven striker, he's better than Haaland because of this one fact. Okay, Haaland is doing it in the Bundesliga. Who knows what he's worth in the Premier League? Is he only worth 15 goals a season, 20 goals a season in the Premier League? But Harry Kane, he's proven in the Premier League with a pretty crappy team like Tottenham. Imagine what he could do at Chelsea. That's what I have to say, sir.
Mate, I think you make
we'll buy him.
You make some good points. So you're not worried about what the media is saying that Chelsea, it's a no-go. There's going to be no. You don't believe in any of that. You think money talks, and
I don't know if you're a Star Trek fan or not, but Daniel Levy is a Ferengi. He's just looking at money. Okay, so I mean, we're number one in the league with money. Okay, we have more money than anyone. Man City, Man United. I don't care. You guys may be above us in the Premier League in the standings, but we have the biggest, deepest pockets, and we will spend an extra $60 million just to land the guy.
Listen, great points being made. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Top man, thank you. That's an excited and happy Chelsea fan there. Do you agree, viewers? Do you agree, Football Terrace community? Remember, we give you the chance to come on and have your say. Next up on the show, what am I going to next? I'm going to go to Safe. Safe is here with us. What you saying, buddy?
Hey, buddy, Terry. Sorry about yesterday. I was just trolling you.
It's not a problem. What are you here to say this morning?
Well, I don't think Man United should sign Harry Kane. What I believe is if we can pay 120 million, I'd rather sign Mbappe. Just a question. Would you not rather have Rashford on the left and Mbappe and Sancho as a front three forward? Or do you rather have Harry Kane, Sancho, and Rashford? Which one do you prefer?
Yeah, it's not what I prefer. It's what's attainable.
I get that, but if you're going to pump in 120 million on Harry Kane, why can't we not do that for Mbappe?
Well, because Mbappe doesn't want to come to Man United.
How about Haaland then? Haaland is a better player than...
Yeah, but I've already said that. I've already said that if we've legitimately got the money, if we had the money and we're going to spend it, I would prefer to sign Haaland over Kane, I think. Yes, I've said that.
Okay.
So don't question me. It's ain't about me. It's about question Man United, address Manchester United or whoever you're talking about.
You also said that you want to support Pogba, but that's wrong. I'd rather sell Fred.
Yeah, but you're not. Oh, listen.
No, but
Stop. I'm stopping you. Can
I educate?
No, you can't educate you. Let me ask you this question. Can you raise as much money selling Fred as you can selling Paul Pogba?
No, you can't.
That's why I mentioned Pogba, and Pogba wants to leave. Potentially.
Okay. Let's talk facts here, because on your channel you love facts, don't you?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so Imagine if we saw Haaland and Sancho and Rashford as a 1-3 forward. And we thought we bought NDD, but we got rid of Fred and we got rid of Van de Beek, both players. Would you not rather have NDD, Pogba, Bruno as your three midfield players and Rashford, Haaland and Sancho as your front three strikers?
Next on the show, who we're going to be speaking to, we're going to go to Daniel's Men, who's on next. What are you saying, Daniel? He's not going to speak. So we're going to go to Onzo. Onzo, what are you saying?
You're right. Yeah.
Yes, mate. Yeah, mate. I'm very, very good. What's your mind?
Yeah, yes. First, I want to say that you're so deep what you did to my man just previously.
Do you know what it is? I couldn't. You know, some days I just can't take the weird hypotheticals that he comes out with. It's like it's not relevant right now. Plus, he had the same top on as yesterday, and that freaked me out. It's like, brother, that looked dirty yesterday. Today's a new day. Freshen that up, my brother. Yeah, what you here to say?
Yeah, so basically, like, I think it was this morning, I literally saw the news of Martial, and I was kind of happy because I've never really rated Martial for like the past 2 years, because when I watch him play, he plays like a player that's already won everything, which is not true. And then I saw Harry Kane, and even though Harry Kane is a world-class striker, I think he'll go to Man City only because the reason why he's saying that he wants to leave is because he's been seeing players like Vardy, who's been banging for Leicester. He's won FA Cup, he's won Premier League, and now like people are saying like he's like a world-class striker, but for him, because he hasn't really won any trophies, like he'll be like, oh, like just getting goals ain't gonna do nothing. So I'm pretty sure if there's a team he will go to, Harry Kane, it will probably be Man City. And as for Paul Pogba, I have a feeling we might. Something's telling me we might offer Pogba a new contract only because of the fact that there's rumors that Zidane's planning to leave, and he said he wants to go to Real Madrid because of Zidane. Players like Varane are leaving, and even Juventus might not even make Champions League. So something tells me that if Oli could sign a CDM, literally, something tells me that Pogba will sign a contract.
It could do. It could do, as I say, and I think that almost certainly rules us out of any Harry Kane move from a financial standpoint, because there just isn't the money there right now at the club. And an 85 million Sancho and 100+ million Harry Kane, plus sort of covering areas in midfield defense. You know, we're looking at sort of right back cover, which is going to cost sort of 20 to 25 million pounds. And that's what's more likely to happen. There's no doubt about it. But what's interesting is this saga is now kicking off. One of the other bits of information that was kind of fell through the cracks yesterday, that Harry Kane also wants to get this situation resolved before the Euros. He's desperate to be able to go to the Euros without this hanging over his head. That is less than 3 weeks away from happening. So this could, if Chelsea's, if Man City's, if Man United is legitimately interested, maybe something plays out in that time period. The only other option out there is PSG. Now, PSG have said they are interested in Harry Kane. I think that's whether they keep or sell Mbappe. Now, if there is money put forward from somebody to buy Mbappe, you know, suddenly one of these Spanish giants find 150 million pound behind their sofa, which, by the way, wouldn't surprise me if they we forgot about this money. It's been time captured. We buried it in 1992. We just found 150 million pounds worth of pesetas or whatever it is. I wouldn't be surprised. And then if they sell Mbappe, maybe you could see a Kane, because Levy would love to get that amount of money, but from a non-English club. Yeah. I still think Harry Kane wants to remain in England. It's going to be an interesting time. Onzo, thanks for coming on, mate. Having your say. Appreciate that, my guy. We've had Safe on this morning. We're going to have another treat for you now. Eye test is coming on, ladies and gentlemen. Someone said a comment around we should create a starting 11 of iconic Football Terrace callers. And Eye test and Safe definitely are in the starting lineup. Fixer has got to be in the starting lineup because he's getting wild recently. Who else would make it? Who else would make it into iconic callers? I think Stephen from Ireland would make it. He's iconic. There we go. Hang on a minute. It's my guy Slen says, Terry, did you see Frank Lampard's tweet? Sorry, Fabrizio's tweet about Frank Lampard being serious candidate for Palace. Yeah, I read about that the other day. I think it's a really good move for him. It's a really, really, really good move for him. There's no doubt about it at all. Definitely a good move. Good move. iTest is on with me now. Morning, iTest. Harry Kane, big move on the offer here. What are you saying?
Yes, first of all, I want to ask you, do you think 120 million is smart for a player who's 28, has a lot of injury problems, has never proven that he could win trophies, when there's players out there you could get for 40, 30 million who are much younger, yeah? And have proven they could win trophies. They've proven they could win trophies. They're scoring just as much as Harry Kane. You know who I'm talking about? Alexander Isaac. Yeah? He has hold on. Let me finish, yeah? Because this guy has 16 goals in the league from open play. Do you know how many Harry Kane has? He has 18. And he's like 7, 8 years younger. 7, 8 years younger. He's scoring just as much as Harry Kane, scoring goals per minute. He's scoring just as much as Harry Kane. Yeah? He's proven that he could win trophies, unlike Harry Kane. He's won the Copa del Rey for Real Sociedad, and he wasn't a side chick in that team because he actually finished top goal scorer in the Copa del Rey when they won it. Yeah, so he's proven that you're
using top goal scorer in a cup competition. I've never heard anyone do that before. But fair play.
Yes, when last season when they won it, he finished top goal scorer and he led them to win the Copa del Rey, and it was the first time ever Real Madrid or Barcelona wasn't in a Copa del Rey final in I think in like 20 years because he knocked them out. He knocked them out in the semis or in the quarters. He knocked them out. So I don't understand why we can't go for him when he'll be less than 40. No injury problems. 16 goals in the league. No penalties. Imagine he took penalties. He'd easily score 21 goals as a 21-year-old.
He's a good player and he's still very, very young. So I totally understand that, but he's still fresh as well. The reason why someone like a Harry Kane, whether people like it or not, is worth the money he's worth. Partly, he's a sure thing. If you actually look at Harry Kane this season, Isak this season, and what you're doing is a little bit disingenuous, bro. You're just looking at the league goals, where you look at Harry Kane, and he played majority of the season. He played in a team that played fossil football, dead football that you phone up and criticize about, isn't attacking enough, isn't as expansive enough, and he's still the top goal scorer in the league. Yes, if you take away penalties, but the reason Isak isn't taking his penalties is because he's not the best penalty taker in his team. So that isn't something you should take away from Harry Kane. It's a negative for Isak that he's your number one striker, your best goal scorer, but he's not the best penalty taker. This season, Harry Kane has got 32 goals in 47 games for pretty much a defensive and a very negative Tottenham team with how they play. So there's 32 goals in 47. In 41 games, Isak has 16 goals. So Isak is half.
What about in the league?
But you don't just buy a player to play in the league, do you? You play a player. He played 8 European ties this season and didn't score a goal in Europe, and he was playing in the Europa League. Not one goal. So what you're doing is very disingenuous. You're only looking. You're doing a bit of an egal here. You're focusing on one area. So is Isak a good striker? Yeah, of course he is. I'm not saying he's trash. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I think he's right now Tammy Abraham level, maybe a little bit better. Like Tammy Abraham Tammy Abraham this season is Chelsea's top goal scorer, but they're looking to replace him. Like Isak is about Tammy Abraham level of football player, in my opinion.
How many goals does Tammy have?
And he's having a really good season, Isak, in the league. He didn't have a good European season. He has never scored over 16 goals in a campaign before. So a club isn't going to want to. I don't think clubs are going to take a risk on him because he isn't setting the world alight. He's doing a good job, and that's about it, bro. And that's about it. And in terms of Tammy Abraham, this season only 6 goals in the league for Tammy Abraham. But last year he scored 15 in the Prem. And it's got 18 in total. It's about the same level with Isak. 18 goals in 47 games. This season, it's 12 goals in 32 games. It's about the same level with Isak as a striker, mate. Okay. But the point, Isak's a good striker, but he's nowhere near a Kane. He's nowhere near a Haaland. He's nowhere near these individuals. So So what is your point? So would you rather Man United or Chelsea or City go for Isak over a Kane? Is that what you're saying?
Well, Pep Guardiola actually wants Kane. Barcelona want Kane. I think we should be in for him. Last season, as I was about to say, Man United fans were hyping up Martial for scoring 17 goals in the league without a single penalty as a 24-year-old. Isaac is doing that as a 21-year-old, yeah, and no one's talking about it.
What's your point here? Like, no one's talking about Isak because he's a good player, but he isn't beating the door down. He isn't world level. He isn't elite.
Tell me, other than Haaland, in his age bracket, who's doing what he's doing as a striker?
I don't really know because it's not something I've researched and looked at as an example. But you're missing the fundamental point here. You like him. Firstly, you haven't made a point yet. You've not made a point about why you're bringing this up. But why are none of the big clubs looking at him?
They are. Look, right, Isaac.
Okay,
Isaac, Barcelona.
Right. So, okay, where are the links? Like, forget that. Where are the Premier League links to him?
Man City wanted him. Look, just write Isaac, Man City, and you'll see the name and you'll see the links.
By who? What credible journalist said this?
I can't remember, but I remember Pep wanted them. A couple newspapers were saying that you write on Google Isaac, Man City wanted them.
Oh yeah, I see Barcelona Isaac in 21 million transfer. That was in April 2020, but that was, bro. That's in the Sun newspaper, bruv.
No, there's a lot of newspapers reporting.
My point is there has been no credible link from a top transfer journalist of any big club seriously looking at Isak in terms of they're talking to representative. It isn't close. So that should tell you something. He's a good player. I think you just love him. But let's get away from him for a moment. Where do you think Harry Kane's going?
I think Harry Kane. I think he should go. I think he should go to Chelsea. I think he should go to Chelsea because if he, I think in that Tuchel system, he would suit Chelsea very well. Where Werner can play off him, he's the target man. He's also going to score a lot of goals. And Werner, if they're going to continue playing that system they're playing, Werner can play on the left, play off of Harry Kane. So they don't need to drop Werner as well because they bought him for a lot of money. They invested a lot of money on him. So I think it would be a smart signing for Chelsea because they could still play Werner, Havertz, and play Kane just ahead of them and let Werner and Havertz play off of him. So I think Chelsea's the move.
Yeah, no, listen, I think Chelsea would be an amazing place for him to go. There's no doubt about it. How would you feel as a Man United fan if he signed for us?
For us?
Yeah.
It depends because if it means we won't get a right winger, we won't get a CDM, and we won't get a centre back, then I won't be happy. But if we get him and these other targets, then I would be happy. So it depends.
And if you could pick right now, legitimate, the decision's you. We've signed a centre back, we've signed a CDM, we've signed Sancho, and there it is. It's Mr. Eye Test. We can get Isak for 40 mil. We can get Harry Kane for 120. Who are you buying?
Alexander Isaac for 40 million. He's much younger, proven he could win trophies, scoring a lot of goals already. Imagine by the time he's 25, 26, he's scoring 30 goals a season. If he's scoring at the rate he's scoring now, if he continues to grow, he's going to score 30 goals a season by the time he's 25, 26.
League goals or in all comps?
In all comps, he will score over 40 goals by the time he's 25.
How many times?
How many times? Consistently. He's a consistent player.
Okay, so how many times? From when he's 24 to he's 28, how many times are you going to score over 40 goals a season?
From the time he's 24 to 28.
Yeah.
Every season.
Okay, so we have a little bet.
I don't bet.
No, not for each other to win, for charity. £5,000 I will put forward for a charity of your choice, and you do £5,000 vice versa. I bet you he doesn't do it. And if you're right, because you trust him, I'll give £5,000 cash to any charity in the world of your choice.
Okay, then.
£5,000 that you think between 24 and 28, he's scoring over 40 goals a season every season.
Let's do 2 seasons. Let's do 2 seasons.
2
seasons. 40 goals. That's a lot of goals.
Okay, cool. Well, you made the claim. Now you're now backtracking. You're getting a bit nervous now. You're getting a bit nervous. So we'll do 2 seasons. What you need to do is DM me a picture to show me you've got $5,000. Like the cash is there, because I'm not making a bet with someone who can't cover his capital. We'll share that with each other privately. That will go nowhere further than me and you. I'll put the bet out there, and then we'll put it up. I'll even put it on my wall. It's there. We'll put it up there, and we'll see what happens. We'll do that, yeah.
What? So when he's we're telling me
from
he's
24 to
28,
26, which is a long time from now. He's got to score 40 goals a season 2 years running, and you earn yourself $5,000.
Okay, then.
Cool. Good. That's
Okay.
a deal. That's a done deal. That's a done deal. That's a done deal. Listen, ITES, thank you for calling up and having your say today, mate. Top man. Thank you very, very much indeed. Appreciate that. That guy loves Isak, you know. He loves Isak. I'll DM him later. He needs to prove to me, by the way, he can cover his bet. If he can't cover his bet, it's not going forward. But we will see. I think the guy's got money, though, to be fair. He strikes me as someone. I bet he's young, but I bet he drives a nice car. One of them guys, you know what I mean? Mum and dad have got the money. Next on the show, Mr. Singh is going to be here. What are you saying, buddy? You're on mute, my friend. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. Unmute.
So sorry. Thanks. Thanks, Terry. Thanks for having me. And I just wanted to bring 2 things. One is that I don't think United should go for Kane. And I believe they will not. First and the foremost reason I believe is that United is currently like a house which at this point of time need internal renovations. You know what I mean? And we are looking out, or we are thinking to go for a Ferrari. That does not work, right? So at the end of the day, when you come back to home, you want at least a nice sofa. So we are right now looking for somebody like a CDM position or a right wing, or like you said, center back. So that's one of the reasons I don't think United need Harry Kane. And the second thing, I don't think Harry Kane would come to United is because I think Daniel Levy is a very shrewd businessman. I don't think the way United conducted transfer market and the business, the way it conduct the negotiations, I don't think they are going to agree on the table, at least on the price that the Daniel Levy is going to ask United for. And the second thing I want to say is that I think Harry Kane would go to PSG. That's what I personally feel. I don't think so he would go to Chelsea, primarily because Daniel Levy is going to have a say in that. I just think that he would not offer Kane to Chelsea. I think PSG, given that Icardi is not in the best of the forms, and who knows what if Mbappe does not stay there for long. I think Kane would certainly fancy that because he would have more chances of securing a title and Champions League. In fact, this could be the last missing piece of the jigsaw, the puzzle for Mauricio Pochettino. I think so.
I hear what you're saying there, and I think Poch would love to have him back. I think they'd love to work together again in some way, shape, or form. So it's one of those, you know, sometimes you see a certain transfer and you're like, that transfer isn't beyond the realms of possibility in relation to that. But listen, my guy,
they've got the money as well. Yeah,
of course they've got the money, and I think Mbappe could go. There's no doubt. Listen, thank you for calling in, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate Mr. Singh. Thank you. A lot of people saying, Terry, why are you doing that to eye test? Look, it's a bit of fun, man. It's a bit of fun. Relax. He makes big claims. I'm just asking him to put his money where his mouth is. Let's see if he stands by it. If he really believes in it, he just made a charity with choice $5,000. Matty, come back. I was about to put Matty on. Where you gone? Where you gone? Isak over Bruno. Love it. Love it. Love it. Why are people saying jigsaw? I don't really get that comment. Matty's with us now. What are you saying, Matty?
You all right, Terry? How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm very, very well. What are you here to say today, mate?
You know what? I completely disagree with a lot of these Chelsea supporters some of them that you've had on that says that Kane should come to us. I don't think really we should be getting Haaland or something like that. As you said before, you know, if Manchester United have 150 million to spend, I think Chelsea would do the exact same. And Roman Abramovich has already made it clear that he wants Haaland. So for us, and also he said that he doesn't want to do business with Tottenham. So I think, in my opinion, we'd been better out going out all out for Haaland rather than going for Harry Kane. And not just that, you read the reports today. Somebody said, he's only got one big contract left in him. So, I mean, for me, it's got Man City written all over it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in two minds about it. From a Chelsea point of view, Haaland is the one. Haaland is the one that Roman wants above and beyond anything else. So if the money's there for Kane, the money's there for Haaland. Why not go and get it done? The only caveat is maybe Haaland doesn't actually want to be in the Premier League. Maybe Haaland wants the Barca Real Madrid move and is willing to wait a year for them to sort themselves out financially, if you get where I'm coming from. So there are a few things at play in relation to that, but for me, it's I don't know. It's going to be an interesting summer now. This has been set up nicely. The one thing about Chelsea getting Harry Kane, I mean, it would devastate me because you're going to win the league with him. But at least it means you're probably not going to go in for Jadon Sancho. So that's one saving grace there. Matty, thank you for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, buddy. Top man. Next, sorry, I didn't mean to cut that out when you were saying bye. Sorry. Next caller, Mo, is here. What are you saying, Mo?
Morning, Terry. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, very, very well. What are you here to say, mate?
Harry Kane to Man United. It's a difficult one. I would say, unfortunately, at the moment, we can't. He's not priority. We have to get a CDM. We have to get a central defender and a right winger. If last summer we already got those positions, so let's say last summer we got a good CDM and we got Sancho, then this summer we could have gone for him. But I think that amount of money, at the moment we can't. But however, I would love to see it though. If it's Kane at United, he's going to say no to that. I think Man United is probably one of the clubs on his list. He has to be. It's Man United, Old Trafford. It's the biggest club in England. It's bigger than Liverpool, bigger than City. It's if Man United is on the list, if they are going in for him, he might come to United. Man United is one of those clubs where it's like a once in a lifetime player in Harry Kane, once in a lifetime Man United.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, do you feel like do you feel as a Man United fan that it would be the right priority for us this summer? A Harry Kane over a central midfielder over a Sancho. Where's your head at with that?
Look, it depends. Let's say we get Harry Kane, we've got Ahmad and Pellistri there. CDM, can we get? We don't have to get a very expensive CDM. You can shop around and find a good CDM. If you're looking at the point of view where you want Sancho, then it's either going to be Sancho or Kane. At this moment in time, I'll take Sancho because we need a right winger. We can use that money to buy a central CDM and a central defender. But if you want the big marquee signing where you want to sell shirts and you want to get the fans back on side, you get the best striker in world football for me.
I hear that. I hear your train of thought there. 100%.
It's Harry Kane, Terry. Harry Kanes don't come out bat every single day, Terry. These players come once every 20 years. Back in the day, you had Alan Shearer, and then do you remember when we got Teddy Sheringham?
Yep.
I mean, he went to Man United and he won us the league, Premier League, FA Cups. These players, Terry, these English players, these strikers don't come back very often. Like Rooney, the Kanes, you get them every 10, 15 years. You gotta have to wait. They don't come back often. When they're back, you get them. It's Man United.
I hear you 110%. Listen, Mo, thanks for calling in, mate, and having your say.
Thanks,
Top man. Thank you. Next up, we've got the realist on the show. What you saying, buddy?
Yo, Terry, it's been a minute still. Listen, I've heard this Harry Kane talk, and to be honest with you, I think Harry Kane for 150 million isn't a good deal, whether you like it or not. I just think, no matter how good you are, 28 glass ankles, 150. I think Harry Kane is good for a certain amount of money. I think 100 mil worth it, but 150 mil, it's not worth it. I think United need a right winger. I think they need Sancho. I think they need a CDM. I think they need to prioritize it more than Kane. I just think buying Kane should be United's third option. But obviously, I can't speak for United fans because I'm an Arsenal fan. But I just don't think it's a massive priority. I think you got Cavani there; he's doing well. I think he's more suited to like Chelsea, but even for them, I don't think he'll go to Chelsea.
Where do you think he's going to end up then?
I don't know, to be honest. Anyone that puts down 150 is theirs, to be honest. It's a free for all right now.
Well, I think this is what people are. It's one, who's got the money. Secondly, do they put it up? And then three, how many put it up is gonna be the case. And then you're gonna get the arguments from people. Is it the priority? Is it what we need? I think Man United fans seem to be the most frustrated with this because most of us don't believe it's the priority. Where with City and with Chelsea, that striker role is massively needed. But 150 million pound is a hell of a lot of money. Will it be that much? Maybe not, but it's the asking price right now. Realist, thank you for calling in, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate that, buddy. Top man. KJ's with us now. Morning, mate. How are you?
What is Artest talking about now? Alexander Isak, 40 goals a season, 2 years in a row. Does he not know how hard it is to score 40 goals? Flipping hell, bro.
Bruv, I've just made a charity $5,000, so I'm a happy man this morning. I don't know who. I might give it to the Samaritans, or I might give it to. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to give it to someone good, but it's going to take years to come.
The charity of KJ is always welcome for donations.
I just made a charity $5,000 this morning. What a great! Look, I've done a stream, and I've made a charity $5,000. I'm so happy. Hang on. He come out here and says, "I want to reduce it to 1 season and 30 goals in a top 5 league." Well, not for $5,000, bro. I want to change it. We'll see. We'll have a little chat about it, my guy. We'll have a little chat about it. Yeah, mate. What's your thoughts on the news this morning? Martial, Harry Kane swap deal.
Don't do it. No. And this is not because, KJ, you just love Martial and that's it. Bruv, if we sell Martial, we need to buy another left winger. Buying Harry Kane to then make there be another hole in the squad that these pagans have to fill makes no sense to me. There's no point of doing that. They've already, you know what they're like. They've already filled their hole with their stopgap Cavani. I don't think we should then go with the owners we have, make another hole just to get a striker that we've already just filled the hole with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a bit, for me, it's just a bit overkill. It puts our development plan out the window because you've got players like Greenwood who are developing into a striker. You buy Harry Kane now, what's the point? You know what I mean? What is the point of Greenwood trying to become a striker? Then he'll be out there on the right wing for how many years? And then we'll get upset because when he's not doing right winger things, because he's a striker, people will get on his back. I heard one caller say we've got a Madam Palestri. Bruv, you know how young they are? They're ridiculously young. Palestri isn't even proving that he could be good enough to even play for Man United. His loan spell got cut short because of injury. He's going back out there as well. But we don't even know how good he can be. Ahmad, yeah, we've got good high hopes for him because the games he's played, he's showed good touches, good decision-making. But it still could take him 3-4 years to get adjusted to the league in terms of physicality. The boy is small. The boy is light. He has to develop that strength. You don't just do that over 1 season and boom, there you are. Here we go. You know what I mean? We can't just rely on Greenwood, Ahmad, and Palestri as our right wingers for the next how many years? No, that's a foolishness. One of them ain't even a striker. One of them ain't even right winger, and the other two, we have no idea how they're going to turn out in this league. So we have to go get a right winger, and to do that at the price of to sacrifice that for Harry Kane, for me, is nonsense. In my personal opinion, there's no point. We are not in a position to be signing Harry Kane.
KJ has spoken. The pastor has spoken, ladies and gentlemen, on this news this morning. I don't disagree with anything that you have said, because I actually look at Anthony Martial as an inside forward. These people that come out with the whole my number 9, he's not your number. He might be your number 9, but he ain't a good enough number 9. I look at Martial is this. He is a top class inside forward. He's a good striker. Finishing is finishing, whether he's left, right, or centre. He finishes generally pretty well. Other than this season, his conversion rate is almost amazing. And where I feel sorry for Martial is that people have tried to, again, singularity, key stage 1 level. This season he's missed chances. I told you he wasn't very good. Why are you discounting his average conversion rate of nearly 30% every other year prior to this? I want to see him stay. I love Harry Kane at Man United, but I do get concerned about filling other areas in. Equally, I agree with what Danny said last night. It could be a deal that papers over cracks and wins a league title because he scores so many goals. My fear, though, is after that fact. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's almost like that. The hangover of that could be massive in a year or two when we have the fall off. I don't know. I'm honestly I'm so conflicted with this news.
Yeah, no, I get that, and I get Danny's point of view, and I understand that. But look what happened. Look what happened last time we played over cracks as a striker and to win the league. Look what happened. We fell apart because the other areas weren't there once he's been finished. Harry Kane for 2-3 seasons, great. We could win the league. We could be amazing. But after that, when his body starts to break down even more, what then? Mason won't be ready because the game time won't be there. The right wing position will still be lost. The DM will still be needed. The centre back will still be needed. We're in a position right now where we can sign one of the generational talent in Jadon Sancho and the right wing, a very good, competent DM, and potentially Rafael Varane for centre back. People are saying strikers like Harry Kane, the opportunity doesn't come up very often. Well, the opportunity doesn't come up to sign a Rafael Varane from Real Madrid very often. If you think about this, I would rather sign Sancho, potentially Varane and a DM, and then next summer go all out for Haaland, whose release clause will be open. Like next summer, we have the pick of any striker we want.
I think what stands out massively to me here, Winter Surfer, I love that hashtag, Isak to Man U. Get it trending. I think for me, what the focus should be here for Man United fans is why are we in this position? If we were run properly, we should be in a position where we're adding cherries on top of icing on top of cakes, not still looking for the flour and the eggs to get the mixture right. And that's where we are because we're run poorly. We shouldn't be deliberating financially. Nearly £2 billion taken through interest payments, loan payments, and dividends from the Glazers. Stick that £2 billion extra into our bank accounts. In fact, take a bill of it and grow the stadium. Subsidized ticket prices and travel for fans, home, away, and abroad. And you still got £1 billion left. That extra £1 billion. Do you know the players we could have at this football club right now? Like, legitimately, you could have 5 or 6 of the very best players in the world here. The irony in we had this. Woodward wanted he tried to do a Galactico thing, didn't he? He fell on its face. But if they run the club properly and paid that debt down first and got rid of it, and we weren't servicing it, and we were built to play the best football possible, we could afford this standing on our heads. We wouldn't even have to think about it, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we just be like, listen, 120 mil. Yeah, cool. Just signing checks.
Economics has been killing us for years, man. Absolutely.
Have you ever seen that footage of Michael Jackson with Martin Bashir when he's in this really expensive shop place in LA and he's buying stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, those vases, yeah, how much? And it's like, yeah, they're 2 million each. Yeah, I'll take 2 of them. And it was like, how much for that rug? I like £500,000. Yeah, I'll have 3, thank you. That should be how we shop in the market. It should be, how much for Rafael Varane? Done. How much for Kane? Done. How much for Sancho? Done. But because of how they run out, and this is why I say to people, relatively speaking, you get a fan of a smaller club that will say, they spent 150 million and Man United fans are moaning. Yeah, because they've hemorrhaged even more of it, and it's our money. It's our money, and they've wasted it. I'll stand by that to the grave. Listen, everyone that's tuned in today, thank you. We're going to have a show coming up this afternoon. I've got to change the time of the show due to Pav. Love it. By the way, I do love iTest. He's great. He's absolutely great. And one day when the football terrace is gargantuan, I'm going to give him his own show. A sort of like a iTest view on the world. I'd love to give him that show. We can talk about that one day, bro. But We're back later on this afternoon. We're going to have a very special guest on, and we are talking a number of subjects that are going to have a big impact on the Premier League. Kane to Chelsea, Lukaku to Chelsea, Roberto Martinez may be returning to the Premier League as well. It's going to be an interesting show. We'll announce the time a little bit later on today. Of course, we're live after Man United play today. I forgot. Chelsea Leicester today. Like everyone's forgot. The games are still on. We're live after all these events. So do me a favor. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.